This week on Laurel Community Spotlight, honoring the men and women who dedicate their lives to protecting others. This is National Police Week. I'm Audrey Barnes. Thanks for joining us. President John F. Kennedy signed a proclamation in 1962 naming May 15th Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week it falls in is Police Week. Officers from around the world converge on Washington, D.C. to participate in activities to mark the occasion, and several officers from the Laurel Police Department were involved in those activities this year as well. Joining me today to talk about that and many more exciting things happening at the Laurel Police Department is Police Chief Richard McLaughlin. Chief, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Really appreciate you being here. So you've been with the Laurel Police Department for 28 years.
I have.
A lot of people may not know that you actually started as a police dispatcher.
I did. In 1986, I was hired as a police dispatcher. In 1987, December of 87, I was sworn as a police officer.
So you just kind of worked your way up through the ranks and became chief.
I did.
How has policing in Laurel changed over those 28 years?
The dynamics have changed significantly. Obviously, the population has changed. The amount of people living in Laurel has changed. The demographics have changed. The crimes have changed, and it's grown, significantly grown.
It's a lot bigger, and a lot bigger job for you. We know that Police Week is all about honoring the officers who have died in the line of duty, and the last several you've actually had a personal experience with. Tell me about that.
Well, early in my career, I've suffered quite a few losses. One of my instructors, while I was in the academy, he was killed on the line of duty early in my career. There was also several Maryland State Police troopers that I had coffee with, that we were friends, that were killed on the line of duty. The last 3 PG County officers that were killed on the line of duty were all killed in Laurel, or close to Laurel. 2 of which I was actually on the scene, 2 of which they were actually friends. So it does hold a lot of personal impact. The memorial is a fantastic place. It's a wonderful place. And it is very touching for not only the survivors, but the families.
So we know there's a big memorial in Washington, D.C., but Laurel has its own memorial.
We do. We have a police memorial in the Ivy Hill Cemetery.
And I know some of the officers have told me privately they actually go there and just kind of remember their friends that they've lost over the years.
Yes.
Because your safety is something you guys take seriously and you think about every single day, I imagine.
Well, I don't know that you can dwell on it. Mm-hmm. It's something that's in the back of your mind. But obviously, if you dwell on it, it's going to overtake your life. Mm-hmm. It's there. It's a possibility, but hopefully it'll never happen.
Well, tell me about the officers that went down to D.C. We've seen some of the pictures and things that they've shared. What were they doing down there for Police Week?
As part of National Police Week, typically on Sunday, which was Mother's Day, and Monday, we do an escort of the families. The families fly into Reagan National Airport. They are provided an escort of police officers to the hotel, the hosting hotels, and that's pretty much what we did. And then last night was the candlelight memorial down at the memorial.
That had to be touching.
It's very emotional. It's very emotional.
Mm-hmm. And do the officers come back with stories about the people they've met around the country and things like that, the survivors and the families and things?
Well, the families, I mean, it's very touching for the families, particularly because this year 286 names were added to the memorial.
Wow.
There's a lot of families that have been impacted, that have been touched, and this is just an ongoing honor that we present to them, an escort from the airport to the hotels.
Mm-hmm. And we noticed that you were the badge, so the band on your badge, like all the officers during this week.
Yeah, the morning band is traditional.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit more about you, kind of going full circle, and your career here in Laurel. You're not one of those police chiefs that just kind of sits up in headquarters and is chief. You actually get involved. Tell me about this incident with the suspected drunk driver. How did that whole thing go down? Because that kind of tells people that you are a working police chief.
Well, first of all, I still love being the police. I grew up on the streets, and that's where my heart truly is. The other day, I just happened to be on 198. I saw a disabled vehicle, a car with a flat tire, that was creating a traffic hazard. I stopped to help mediate the traffic hazard. As I approached the individual, I detected an odor of alcoholic beverage about him, and we had a conversation. I requested on-duty patrol units who responded, and he ended up being a drunk.
What was his alcohol level? Because the numbers seemed extremely high to me.
0.36.
So people sometimes don't make it or die with alcohol levels a little bit higher than that.
Typically at a .40, you're unconscious.
And this gentleman said he was on his way to work,
That is correct.
driving through the streets of Laurel with a .36 blood alcohol level. As a police chief, what did you think about that? That's so dangerous.
Well, I never would have guessed that he would have blown as high as he did, or that his results would have been as high as they were. I guess the important thing is that the life that's saved may be yours, and anything we can do to get impaired drivers off the road is important. Again, I mean, it was just the right time at the right place, and thankfully he had a flat tire. I mean, who knows what would happen if he kept on motoring on his way to work.
I think we're all lucky that you happened to come by when you did. So tell me about some of the other initiatives that you're doing. You are doing some groundbreaking things here in Laurel. The body cameras, for instance, other jurisdictions are now looking at Laurel as a model for how that program can work. How successful has it been for you?
The personal wear cameras are phenomenal. They are probably one of the best tools that we put out there. They mediate a lot of situations. They cause immediate de-escalation of situations. They document, for evidence purposes, incidents as they're occurring. And it's, in today's society with all the cell phone cameras and everything else, you get little tidbits. This is the incident from start to finish. It cannot be edited. It can't be modified. It is a read-only access that we have. And it's just, it's awesome. It's a great tool. We utilize it for training, particularly with our newer officers, because if you visualize, the way we learn is visually, and if you visualize that you have made a mistake and you're corrected on how that mistake occurred, and you actually see that you are making that mistake, you have less of a tendency to remake that mistake.
And I imagine in violent situations, it just tones people down immediately if they know they're being recorded.
It absolutely. And in fact, we have documentation of somebody that was just very hostile, confrontational, aggressive until he realized the camera was on. And as soon as he realized that the officer was wearing a personal wear camera, it was like a light switch had been turned off. It went from 100 to 0.
And now DC is looking at Laurel as a model for how it can work.
We have been in conversation with DC. We've had conversation with Howard County. And in fact, it went worldwide as far as the media attention. Again, it's a phenomenal tool. It truly is point of view cameras. And you are seeing what the officers are seeing.
And let's talk about another subject that's really taken off here in Laurel, getting those AEDs, or automated external defibrillators, and all the police cruisers. That's huge, a life-saving move.
It is, and unfortunately, one of the circumstances that I utilized to justify the AEDs was one of our officers having a heart attack. Recently, we had one of our officers that had a heart attack that required a shock to be brought back. I never imagined it would become factual as quickly as it did, but it is a reality. It is something that we do, and in fact, one of the officers tomorrow is going to be honored for his life-saving of a child for performing CPR on an infant. It is things that we're exposed to. It does have the possibility. And again, with the fact that the officers have take-home cars, I could be at the mall, I could be at an event, sporting event with my children, anytime. I mean, you don't know when an AED is going to be helpful, and it's there, it's readily available, and it's because it's in the police cars.
Right, that's a great thing for the community to know. Diversity on the police force. I know Mayor Craig Moe is really a big advocate of diversity and making departments citywide mirror the community. How are you doing that on the police department?
We're doing a lot more recruitment, or attempting to do a lot more recruitment of both Hispanic officers, black officers, and female officers. Unfortunately, the candidate pool is very shallow. So we have become very competitive with other agencies because it's very competitive as far as any type of officers, those type of officers. Fortunately, we have about, I think there's 5 or 6 female officers, so we're starting to meet that bar. We've started moving the African American officers into management roles and supervisory roles, and we've been very successful in recruitment of African American officers. The Hispanic population we're starting to meet that threshold also. We have quite a few officers that are Hispanic. We also have done some survival Spanish or some Spanish training for other officers so that we can communicate in their dialect.
So you are making some headway in the diversity issue. That's good.
I think it's very important. It is absolutely very important. And we're recruiting in different fields. In fact, I went the other day to a Hispanic church for services and tried to do some recruitment there. It's whatever we have to do is what we're going to do.
And you talked about your recruitment efforts. You're not just getting run-of-the-mill officers, you're getting some superstar officers. And the police awards are on May 15th, which is Peace Officers Memorial Day. So I know it's a surprise, like Officer of the Year and things like that, but can you tell me like some of the types of things that you're honoring the officers for?
I'll tell you, Audrey, it really is amazing how things have evolved as far as policing. These officers it is just, again, it's mind-boggling to see the things they're exposed to and the cases and the incidents that they're handling. You know, we have we had a bank robbery where there was a chase with an apprehension, a lot of teamwork. You know, that is not common either. Again, we had the life-saving award. There's some superstar cases that they had.
At the Laurel City Employee Awards banquet, we saw an officer get honored for finding guns in cars and multiple things like that. It's becoming a real job, and you know, and the young officers seem to be kind of leading the charge there.
They are. Again, every year I get more and more amazed at the thing.
So, what's the next big thing for you as police chief?
Well, I think we need to get in the community more. I'm involved in the community. I appreciate the community, and I know that the community is what makes the police department successful. We need to do some more community events. We're going to work on some community events. We're going to obviously continue with our DARE program. We're going to do our COPS camp program. We're gearing more towards the juveniles, the kids. You know, with Town Center coming on board, there's a lot of changes that are going to have to occur as far as our mindset and our policing, and we're going to have to ensure that we are, again, in the community and that we're visual in the community. I want to continue on the professionalism of the agency. I want to continue on the education of the agency and the increasing of the available specialty units that we have. I also want to continue to add some more of the personal wear cameras.
All right, well, it sounds like you've got a full plate, and we're so happy and glad and actually very lucky to have you as our police chief. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you. Thank
Really
you for the opportunity.
Really appreciate it. Learned a lot of good stuff about you today. Well, as Chief McLaughlin mentioned, he started at the Laurel Police Department as a dispatcher. We met another police dispatcher who certainly has her hands full. She just had triplets. We thought it would be a fun way to end our Police Week show by taking a look at the newest additions to the Laurel Police Department family. Darcy Spencer has their story.
Hi there.
Jody and Art Guguyan have their hands full and then some. They're the proud parents of triplets. The boy is AJ. He was the firstborn. Here are his little sisters, Presley, and the big smiler, Paisley Joe, all born February 1st.
When we first went to the doctor says to us, "Oh, we see one heartbeat," and we were all excited. We went back the following week, we see 2 heartbeats. So I called my mom, "Mom, what are we going to do? They see 2 heartbeats." And then I called her the following week and said, "Mom, you're not going to believe it. They found 3 heartbeats."
The Laurel couple tried to have a child for a few years and were in for the shock of their lives when they found out they were having 3.
It was a big surprise. But, it all seemed to work. We are getting through, and we have help from friends and family, and it just kind of feels like it was meant to be.
Wow. How does it feel? I'm so proud. I'm so proud. It's a triple blessing.
Jody's juggling 2 full-time jobs, taking care of her triplets and the job that pays the bills.
Laurel City Police Guguyan, can I help you?
She's been a 911 dispatcher for the city of Laurel for 20 years and recently came back from maternity leave. While Jody misses her babies at home, she says she's glad to be back on the job, and now she has some bragging rights. She's the first Laurel City employee to be blessed with triplets.
The second half of my shift, I get a little more homesick, ready to come home and get cuddles and kisses. But it does feel good to be back.
Back at home, they're still in awe. It's a blessing they never dreamed of.
The first night we brought him home, I don't think we slept. We just stared at him, for the first few nights. I would say, honey, I gotta, get some rest. Will you stare at them for me? We take turns.
But it does take a lot of work. Every day they make 27 bottles, change 33 diapers. Jody and Art share the load. Help from their family and friends and co-workers has made a huge difference, including from the chief of police and his wife.
They gave us, for the first year, every month, diapers and wipes, which is such a huge help because we go through about 800 diapers a month.
The babies spent 2 weeks in intensive care in incubators hooked up to IVs. They're 3 months old now, healthy and thriving, the pride and joy of their parents' lives.
It changed a lot, because it's all about the babies now, and we wouldn't have it any other way.
Darcy Spencer, Laurel TV.
Best of luck to Art and Jody and their beautiful family. Thank you for watching. I'm Audrey Barnes, and this is Laurel Community Spotlight. We'll see you next time.